back. I don't know if anybody didn't notice, but we were gone for a while. Wink, wink, nod, nod, say no more.
Yes, we're back. The eX-Pats.
The
We are back
X
with more stuff.
more.
And we're once again, we're going to kind of delve a little bit more into Italy. And Steve had been there, and we thought it would be interesting to discuss the, I don't know if anybody in our audience remembers the COVID experience, the COVID
I don't remember that.
experiment.
What year was that? What was that? What was that?
And us here in the United States, we're all very familiar with what the United States did, which was, pretty damaging in some aspects. And Steve was fortunate enough to be in Italy at the time when they started going with all the lockdowns and the laws and the rules, the guidelines. And Italy is kind of a different experience because of its more of a fascist police state than here in the United States, believe it or not.
So let's just say it is a fascist police state. We're not.
That's so it is. It is what you think it is.
Don't they have a Democratic prime minister or whatever?
Yes,
or
they have an election
president?
and everything.
She's pretty
Out there
conservative, but
by Italian standards.
And which is kind of cool. She's locked down the borders. They're not letting any more immigrants in.
Oh, that's smart. I mean, let them make them come through legally.
Illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they're so close to all the different. I mean, Sicily is 80 miles off the coast of Libya. It's not. Is it 80? Or it might be a little bit more than that, but it's close. It's doable. I mean, in a small boat, you could make it
Swim.
Relatively quickly. So anyway,
You could probably do it in a backstroke.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'd have to practice. Oh man, that's not going to work.
And obviously, I cannot be seen during this episode, which is probably just as well.
It is,
but he's in the clouds, just in case you're wondering.
He's in the thin place.
Yeah.
I'm
somewhere else. So now we experienced it. It's still relatively new. Fauci was in the news testifying the 5th in front of the Senate,
and he was a fountain of information.
Well.
So, Steve, when did you actually go to Italy? Was it during the COVID lockdowns?
No.
Or?
We arrived on one of the first, what they called a COVID-free flight. Now, I don't know what they were called before then, but we arrived in Italy the 2nd of December, 2021. So it was a long time after the whole COVID thing. But just for a little perspective, we're in suburban Chicago. I was home. I wasn't under lockdown. I mean, I was at Home Depot every day from March 16th until May 1st. And it was like a gigantic party there because everybody was home doing home repairs. So they were going to Home Depot, or the other big chain here is Menards or Walmart, whatever. Anyway, I went back to work on the 1st of May, and they were saying they were going to extend it here, but I work for myself. And so if I didn't work, I wouldn't make any money. So I went back to work, and most people were pretty easy. Some people were a little bit nutty. They made me wash my hands, take off my shoes, wear a mask, all of that. But for the most part, people didn't. And I don't think they started the restaurant thing in Chicago till after we left. So
really, they were closed for a year.
I guess, yeah. You know what? You're right.
They had opened back up, yeah, because most restaurants. Then they had the goofy thing where stay 10 feet apart or something at the table, and leave your mask on until you're eating. It was so ridiculous, I mean, anyway.
I know. I got in trouble quite a bit when we were flying back and forth, because as long as you were eating or drinking, you didn't have to wear a mask. So I just kept a bottle of water, and I would sip it.
Like one of those
right
mechanoids that come out of a clock. Hey, every time you came out of the clock, you take a sip.
And a couple of times on the train when we were in Italy, people reported me to the conductor saying that I wasn't wearing my mask enough. And if you think about the insanity of it, where like on the planes, you had to wear your mask as long as you weren't eating or drinking. So you've spread all your germs, they're floating around the cabin. And then when someone else, it had no connection.
Well, the reality was
sense.
If you are wearing a mask and a mask really protected you, why would you care if someone else didn't? As long as you're protected, that's all that matters.
Michael, there was no common sense going on at the time.
I know.
But so when we got to Italy in December, you had to have what was called a green pass, and it was on your phone. And if you didn't have the green pass, and so I don't know if it was sort of like the scanners, the restaurants would scan your phone, or they would scan your phone with their phone to check to make sure that you had your vaccine. But then this was 21, so you had to get your booster.
Yeah.
So the crazy thing is, if you didn't get your original vaccine in Italy, you had to go back to where you got your vaccine to get your booster. So we had just arrived in Italy. So there was, we're not going to fly back to the States to get our booster. So a woman that we met was friends with this woman who ran a coffee bar up the street from us, and her brother-in-law, this is how Italy works. Her brother-in-law worked in admin at the hospital that was like 5 minutes from our town. And so she called him and explained that we couldn't get our booster, and because we had gotten it in the States, one thing. Anyway, so we went there, kind of go in the back door, brings us into our office. They probably gave us salt water,
Doesn't matter as long as you got the tag.
Right. So
as long as you got that 666 marked on your forehead, that's all that matters.
So up until then, we were lucky because all of the cafes and restaurants had outdoor seating. So we could just sit outside, and the weather was nice enough where that wasn't an issue at all. So we were able to get by without the green pass. But then they went to the super green pass. So I don't even know what that one was, but it was even more restrictive than the regular green pass. But so we got there in the beginning of December. We were able to get our booster. Fortunately, we didn't have any adverse effects from the booster or the vaccine, but a lot of people did. And so we got our booster, and then we were taking an immersion class in Salerno, and they were like Nazis there. You couldn't go into a sock store without them scanning your phone to make sure that you had your super green pass. But the people that we were friends with said they were literally could not leave their house for 6 months.
Wow.
This is Salerno.
What's that?
This is Salerno?
Well, no, in Guardia.
Guardia.
Pretty much all over Italy, if you were in a car on the road, you would get stopped by the police, and you had to have a signed permission slip.
How'd you get groceries?
Well, that's what you had to do. You were allowed once a week to go to the grocery store. If you had a dog, you had to register that you had to. I mean, it was crazy. It was nuts there. But I mean, we came in on the tail end of it where, people were going out to dinner, life was coming back to somewhat normal, except for the green pass. So we lucked out that, and then I think a month or two after they started that, they just got rid of the whole thing. But the coffee bars, I mean, it was really crazy. And the one different thing is that most of the people who run the coffee bars, like in our town, and own the stores and whatever, they own the building that they have their coffee bar in.
Right.
So, it's like having a restaurant in your living room.
Yeah.
You're not paying thousands of dollars a month rent and, all this stuff, whatever. So it's a little bit different, but it was kind of crazy, but we missed that. I think the same craziness happened here, but we left just before they started, opening up the restaurants, which had to 6 feet apart, and you had to wear a mask, and you had, all that crap.
Yeah, Chris, you should tell them the story about going to Nicaragua, your whole experience.
Well, I mean, we did make a trip to Nicaragua, and it was kind of after, it was like 2021. So, it was like the restrictions were lightening up here in the United States, but Nicaragua was still pretty strict. So we end up, and we brought our dog, we had a little dog, and we go to the, Miami airport, we go to Nicaragua, and we stand in line, and they check your COVID test, your whatever, what do they call that test? Whatever.
Yeah.
But there's 2 tests, and we got the wrong test. So we spent, a couple $100 getting tested to ensure we didn't have COVID. Go to Nicaragua, and they're like, "Oh, you've got the wrong test." And boy, I tell you what, I thought we were going to jail. I mean, they were rushing us around, and there's other guys coming, looking at our paperwork, and they're like, "What do we do with these 2?" And there's little, they're moving us here, moving us there within the airport. We didn't even get through the security, so we're still kind of near the, where you go meet the planes. And we had the small dog, and I'm like, "Look, we've been in the airport and flying for 4 hours. Our dog hasn't used the bathroom. Can I just take him outside? He can go there on the runway." "Oh, no. You can't take him outside." I'm like, "Well," they're like, "Well, you could use the bathroom." So I take the dog in to use the bathroom, in the human bathroom, which to him is like, I'm not allowed to pee in a human's house or their, so the dog is sniffing around. He has no intention of going,
And Chris is squeezing him.
I'm running the sink, sitting on the toilet going, "Look, see, this is how you do it." Standing next to the urinal. So anyways, he doesn't go. Anyways, and they hold the plane that just dropped us off. It was turning around to go back to the States. They hold that plane. They're rushing us. They have to get our bags. And so they finally get our bags, and they put their bags on the plane. They put us back on the plane to get us the heck out of their country, for crying out loud.
Sheesh.
Anyway, we make it back, but the poor dog hasn't gone to the bathroom in like 8 or 9 hours. And we're going through the Miami airport, with my mask draped over my chin. And the dog, we're going right by this big, the food court where they have all these restaurants. And he's walking, he just couldn't hold it anymore, and just plop right there in the middle of the food court. This big, enormous crap. And it's a small dog, and it stunk. I tell you what. So I scoop the dog up, and Kim's got a handkerchief. She pulls it off and cleans it up. We just kept moving along. But take that, Nicaragua or Miami.
Oh man, it's a message to bureaucracies everywhere.
So anyway, that
crazy
was
thing
our, life going to, the COVID experience in Nicaragua. We couldn't even get in the country. So
I had actually talked to a number of people that had relatives like in Poland and some of the northern European countries, and cleaning ladies going to jail, people who were caught without a mask, or do you guys remember Claire from Guardia? She walked around with a little basket. She was Scottish.
No, never met her. Met the English lady.
She refused to comply with anything the whole COVID. She went out. She didn't wear a mask. She didn't do anything. And I didn't know this, but was it North Dakota or South Dakota did nothing? They didn't.
I think it was South Dakota.
Alaska didn't do anything either. Alaska just said.
No, John was in
really?
Alaska. John had to close he had to set up his church to, seating. Yeah. So Alaska was.
Oh, maybe I thought Alaska didn't comply at all with it, but
no, as far as I know, John was in Dutch Harbor. He was, he had to comply.
There were 3 or 4 places that didn't do anything. They just.
I mean, and the crazy thing is, their numbers were no different than anywhere else. It wasn't like.
Yeah. We supposedly, we knew somebody that didn't, that died of it. Actually, it was my business partner, Jeremy's aunt, who we knew that died of it. But I mean, none of us are going to live forever. And she wasn't young. I don't know, but you don't see, that's part of the thing was you don't know if she died of COVID or they just said she died of COVID. Which
exactly.
Possibly she did die of COVID, but you don't know because they were kind of skewing things in favor.
Right, because heart attacks and all other forms of death went to 0 during COVID.
Nobody
the only
was dying
thing that people died of during COVID was COVID.
Yeah.
I did have a neighbor, they're an older couple, and I kind of knew her husband a little bit, but I ran into her after the lockdowns ended and everything. She said, yeah, he's, no longer with us. She said, the last time I saw him is he got sick. So we called the ambulance. They picked him up. I never saw him again. I mean, just that she couldn't go out and see him or nothing. So last time she saw him that, he was still alive, they were putting him in the ambulance. So yeah, a lot of,
tragic story.
They were probably just going and dumping them in the swamp. You never find them.
Yes. Yeah. Why not?
They didn't even bring them to the hospital. They just dumped them in the swamp, let the alligators finish them off.
The COVID swamp, they call it.
The swamp that is COVID. Yeah, there was, I mean, now it's, the fact that it was a man-made sickness virus in the first place is unbelievable. And the first time I saw Fauci testify, he did the same thing. And it was just like, that's interesting. So you acted on behalf of the government, yet you will not say 2 sentences.
He didn't know what color the carpet was.
What's that mean? I don't know what that means.
When he was testifying before Congress, they said, Dr. Fauci, what color is the carpet in front of you? And he said, I cannot answer that question on the grounds that pleading the fifth.
Yeah. And he's already been, and here's the other amazing thing. He's already been, he was
pardoned
by Biden. Why did Biden have to pardon him?
Well, that's exactly the question.
I mean,
so now I just saw a thing where anything that was done with the auto pen during Biden's, they're gonna.
That's the only. I mean, he was having operations for his mind disease while he was in office. I mean, it's just the guy wasn't mentally fit, obviously.
But you know what the crazy thing is, and this is what is, they pretty much shut down the world.
Yeah.
Not a couple of areas, but I mean, there were countries that didn't participate and all, but for the most part, most of the Western world was shut down. Most of Europe was shut down. It's really what they did is,
criminal.
I would say, interesting.
I mean, the amount of right there, they said that people made billions. A lot of people lost their businesses. When I was in Rome, right after we got there, the day they opened everything up officially at the end of March in 22, the first time we went. So we got it when they just opened it up, and they were still screaming at people. I walked into a place, forgot my mask, and they were yelling at me, "Oh, hey, where's your mask? Where la masca? Anyway, so
the mascarina,
whatever it was, but
mascarina.
Yeah,
we had when we flew to Rome on that flight in December. They had a COVID testing station set up right outside the runway of the jetway. So literally, we didn't even go through passport control until after we got a COVID test.
Yeah.
And that was really fun. Do they stick it up your nose? I think.
Yeah.
The Q-tip.
Yeah. Crazy.
In
In some countries, they were sticking it up your butt. I think it was in China. Right. I think in China, they're actually doing
no.
They're only doing it to the U.S. diplomats that came over for the meetings.
Oh well, that's a fair exchange. I mean, the diplomats. I don't know.
The Q-tips are the size of brooms. I heard.
That was a very strange 4 years. That's for sure. Very strange.
Did it last that long, you think?
Well, I'm talking about the whole Biden presidency, from the COVID thing to the whole social changes, to the whole transgender thing, the whole. I mean, if I was listening to this guy Eric Weinstein, who's some sort of, I think he's a mathematical theoretician, mathematical theoretician or theory or something, brilliant guy, and he was saying we are at war. It's not like, he said, obviously it's not a military war, but we are at war. Societies are at war, trying to push these ideas and force these ideas. And you just kind of go, whoa. I mean, it was pretty crazy and I know the way the government controls everything that comes out into public. You watch the news, the major news media, and they have that thing where they're all doing the same talking points. They're saying
the same words, the same phrases.
Yeah.
That's frightening.
And you just kind of go, and I remember listening to this one guy saying, the United States is not a republic or a democracy. It's an oligarchy. It's run and controlled. And we're not, like the Matrix, instead of batteries, we're just little profit centers for these oligarchies. Each person, the year they spend, what they spend on electricity, on gasoline, energy resources, what we spend, we generate a multi-trillion-dollar industry, economy. And these corporations is like milking cows every day, just milk us. We're worth, each person has.
Okay, this is getting depressing.
Well, it's you kind of wonder. I mean, it's really weird.
I agree.
It's weird. It's so weird, and everybody, you don't. People just kind of roll their eyes, and go, "Oh, he's just crazy." Yes, we are crazy, but doesn't mean we're not.
That's why they call us the eX-Pats.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's chilling. It's a chilling scenario. I don't know, man. It's fascinating. Now they're saying something big's going to happen in 27. It's like they throw this stuff out there and you kind of go, well, one of these years will
I thought they said that about 26.
They did. But then, maybe we were wrong about 26 because it didn't happen, right? So they go into
it's not over yet.
Well, the AI thing did happen that they predicted, which was interesting. That what's the company that owns ChatGPT? They gave one of their AIs a little test. And so the AI, I guess, in its limited access to information, felt like it was not going to be able to answer the question. So it literally broke out of its containment, hacked into all the different databases of other AIs, and figured out the answer to the question. But in doing so, it was like really horrifying. And they, you know what I mean? It's like, they don't, it's not that they have, it's that they have, you give them a question. Like I know this is something they said, they'll tell an AI, make as many paper clips as you can. Well, to the AI, what's its basis for when to stop, what's reasonable, what's not reasonable, so literally they said, in some of the scenarios they ran, the AI literally shut the entire world down just to make more paper clips. Everything was irrelevant other than it's the trying to fulfill the mandate, or, trying to do what they want, what the controllers wanted it to do to stay in the game. Wow. To fulfill its mission. So that's kind of the crazy thing about some of this stuff is that how far is the AI willing to go to fulfill its mission or answer the questions, and what is it basing its sense of, does it even have a sense of right or wrong? Or anyway, it's pretty.
Well, to answer that question, just watch Terminator. There you go.
Oh, hey, there you go. A little retro prophecy there.
Yeah. Anyways, I think we'll end it on a happy note then.
On an upbeat note. Hey, how's your dog?
Yeah.
How's the dog? Great. All right, there's a happy note.
All right, guys. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for wrecking my day.
Thanks for surviving COVID.
It was niente.
Niente. Okay. Ciao.
All right. Ciao.